Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the 8 biggest ideas from the book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. The book has sold over 5 million copies and has been translated into over 50 languages. So definitely give this video a thumbs up. And if you like content like this, stay tuned for more. Let's jump right into the ideas. So the first idea is, you don't know everything. What does this mean? Well, we all have our own experiences and opinions, right? Sometimes, when we learn something new, we might think we already know it all. But there are around 8 billion people in the world, each with their own way of seeing things. What seems completely logical to one person may seem crazy to another. Housel offers an interesting analogy. Imagine every experience you have is a grain of sand. Now think about all the experiences everyone in the world has had. That would be like a whole beach filled with grains of sand. Your own grain of sand might be very small, but it can still shape up to 80% of the way you see the world. This means that, although our experiences are limited, they can have a huge impact on how we interpret and understand things, especially when it comes to money. That's why it's important not to rely solely on our own experiences, but to learn from others and seek more information. For example, if your uncle lost money in the stock market 20 years ago, you might think investing in stocks is a bad idea. Or if someone you know had problems with a property, you might think real estate is risky. Or if your brother's business failed, you might think it's better not to start a business at all. But here's another example. People born in 1970 saw index funds become very popular, so they might think that's the best way to invest. People born in the 1990s, on the other hand, witnessed the rise of cryptocurrencies and might believe that's the best option. So what does all this mean? It means you shouldn't limit yourself. Don't make decisions about your money based only on what you've personally experienced. Read finance books, watch videos, documentaries, learn from other people's experiences and gather as much information as you can. Then, with that knowledge and your own experience, make your financial decisions. But remember, don't let your emotions be the only driver. The second big idea is, nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. The world is incredibly complex, to the point that we can't fully understand it. Often the outcomes of our actions don't depend entirely on us. Imagine you're an entrepreneur who has created an amazing product. You think it's the perfect time to launch it, and you're confident people will love it. But suddenly, a disaster like the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 hits, and the market turns upside down. Your perfect plan collapses. This is where Housel's phrase comes in. Nothing is as amazing or as terrible as it first seems. Things are not as great or as bad as they may appear at first glance. When making financial decisions, you must always consider both luck and risk. Don't decide just because you've heard a success story or done some research. Don't reject an idea just because someone else failed at it. Their success or failure might have been caused by factors completely outside their control. This is known as survivorship bias. The key is to keep working toward your goals and learn from both your own mistakes and those of others. If you only learn from your own errors, you'll miss many valuable lessons. And remember, never let success get to your head, and don't let failure crush your spirit. The third idea is, how much is enough for you? In these times of economic uncertainty and high inflation, relying solely on a job may not be the best plan. It's ideal to have something extra, like a property or a business, and even better if you have multiple sources of income. But here comes the key question. How much money do you really need? Constantly chasing money can be exhausting and harmful to your mental health. This mindset can lead to greed, and greed has ruined many people. For example, during the California gold rush of 1849, thousands moved west hoping to get rich quickly. Many were driven by greed, willing to risk everything for the promise of gold. Most never found gold and ended up ruined, having spent all their savings and energy on a hopeless search. To avoid falling into this trap, Housel suggests 2 strategies. The first is, stop moving the goalpost. Imagine you're saving for a car. Once you've saved enough, instead of buying it, you decide you want a more expensive one. If you're always changing your goals and wanting more, you'll never be satisfied. The second strategy is, don't compare yourself to others. Your life is yours. Your thoughts, opinions, and decisions belong to you. Comparing yourself to others can lead to jealousy and destroy your peace of mind. The fourth big idea is, understand the power of compounding. Think of climbing a staircase. Each step takes you a little higher. Money works the same way. Every small amount you save or invest can grow over time, like a snowball rolling downhill. A good example is water flowing over rocks. Over time, it can change their shape, not because it's strong, but because it's constant. You don't need a lot of money to start investing. The key is consistency and giving your money time to grow. Warren Buffett, one of the richest investors in the world, is worth $84 billion. Did you know 18 billion of that came after he turned 65? That's because he understood the power of compounding and gave his money time to grow. Compare Buffett to Jim Simons, who is considered the greatest investor in history with an annual return on his capital of 66%. Buffett's return is only 22%, yet Buffett is richer. Why? Because he started investing at age 10 while Simons started at 50. Small, consistent efforts over a long period can create extraordinary results. Now let's look at the next 4 ideas. Idea number 5 is, time and patience are crucial when investing. Housel is a big believer in the power of long-term thinking. He learned this lesson from Charlie Munger, who is known for his ability to wait patiently for the right investment opportunities. Munger famously said, "If you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes." This means that if you want to be successful in investing, you need to be patient and wait for the right moment. It's not about quick profits or timing the market. It's about finding a good investment and holding on to it for a long time. It's not easy, but the rewards can be huge. Just think about this. If you had invested $100 in Apple stock 20 years ago, it would now be worth over $230,000. Of course, this doesn't mean that all investments will go up so much, but it shows that long-term thinking and patience can lead to huge returns. Idea number 6 is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversification is an essential part of investing. This means spreading your money across different types of investments so that you're not too affected if one of them fails. But it's not just about not losing money. Diversification can also help you take advantage of different investment opportunities. For example, if you invest in both stocks and bonds, you could potentially earn higher returns while also reducing your risk. But diversification isn't just about the types of investments you choose. It's also about where you put your money. For example, if you only invest in one company, you're taking a huge risk. But if you invest in a range of companies across different sectors, you're much less likely to be affected if one of them fails. So remember, diversification isn't a guarantee of success, but it can help you manage risk and take advantage of different investment opportunities. Idea number 7 is, recognize and embrace uncertainty. We often try to predict the future, but the truth is, we can't know what will happen for sure. Instead of trying to predict the future, we should focus on managing risk and being flexible enough to adapt to whatever comes our way. One way to do this is by creating a plan B. By having a backup plan, we can feel more secure and be better prepared to deal with unexpected situations. So don't be afraid to take risks and explore new opportunities, but make sure you also take steps to protect yourself and be ready for anything. Idea number 8 is, understand the difference between the way things work and the way things should work. Often what we see in the world doesn't align with what we think is fair or right. For example, someone who works hard and honestly may end up with less money than someone who cheats or scams others. This can be frustrating and confusing, but it's important to remember that just because something is unfair doesn't mean it's wrong. These are two different concepts that we need to understand and accept. By understanding the way things work, we can make better decisions and navigate the world more effectively. And there you have it. The 8 biggest ideas from the book, The Psychology of Money. Hopefully this video has inspired you to read the book and apply these ideas to your own life. And if you like this video, check out my summary of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I promise you won't regret it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.